So what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy MECHANO and welcome to the video. Now for today's video, we're talking about cutting, bulking and main gaining. Yes, which one is best to build muscle? For those guys who are starting to build muscle, whether you have been doing it before or whether you've been lifting for some time, today we'll discuss it in full length and I'll give you guys my opinion about this, and my explanation will be super simple. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So to explain properly, I'll use myself as an example. Let's assume that there are three mechanos: mechano A, mechano B, and mechano C.
You serious?
And at the beginning of 2020, or at the beginning of a year, let me not use 2020, at the beginning of a year, 2020 has been pretty messed up, so let me use a year. So at the beginning of the year, mechano A, mechano B, and mechano C, they are at 20% body fat. And remember, they have the same genetics, the same work ethic, they sleep the same, they do everything the same. The genetics is 100% the same people. Three plus, the same. Now, three of them are 20% body fat, same percentage of body fat, and our aim is to be at 10% body fat shredded at the end of the year, and I've gotten some muscle. So first of all, mechano A decides to cut. He decides to cut. So for the first 6 months, he decides to cut. Then he gradually cuts, and for the first 6 months, he cuts down to 10% body fat. So he's now at 10% body fat, and guess what? He has gained 4 pounds of muscle. He's gained 4 pounds of muscle.
Nice.
Now mechano B, on the other hand, he decides to maintain. Don't forget, maintain is whereby you eat the same amount of food, you want to maintain the same body fat and then gradually grow muscle at the same time. That is maintain. You maintain your gain, you gain, gradually maintaining the gain and going up. So he decides to maintain. So for the first 6 months, mechano B gains 5 pounds of muscle and he maintains the 20% body fat that he started with. So he's gained 5 pounds but maintained 20% body fat. Now mechano C decides to bulk. As you all know, bulking, when you want to bulk, is basically you eat a lot of food in order to gain more muscle as much as possible. So he decides to bulk, and guess what he does? He eats a lot of food and is bulking, and at the end of the first 6 months of the year, he gains, guess what, 6 pounds of muscle, but he's up 30% body fat. So he gained 10 more percent in his body fat.
Well done.
Now let's go back to mechano A. So we've seen that at the middle of the year, mechano A has 10% body fat and has gained 5 pounds of muscle. Mechano B has 20% body fat and has gained what? 5 pounds of muscle. While mechano C has 30% body fat and has gained 6 pounds of muscle. So he has gained more pounds of muscle.
By the way, this is usually the point in the video where if you've not already hit the like button, it helps me out tremendously. Just give it a quick tap. It's totally free, takes just a split second. It helps out the almighty YouTube algorithm. So with that said, thank you so much for doing that, and we'll begin here.
Now, the remaining half of the year. Now, for the remaining half of the year, mechano A decides to maintain his gain. As I said earlier, main gaining is where you gradually eat the same amount of food in order to maintain the same body fat and gradually gain muscle. So he decides to maintain, and what he does at the end of the second 6 months, he gains 1 more pound of muscle, and he's still at 10% body fat. So at the end of the year, mechano A has gained 5 pounds of muscle and is still at 10% body fat. Now mechano B, on the other hand, mechano B is now at the middle of the year, he's at 5 pounds of muscle and still at 20% body fat. Now, for the remaining 6 months of the year, he decides to cut. And guess what he does? He gradually cuts, and at the end of the year, he cuts down to 10% body fat and maintains his 5 pounds of muscle. He maintains that 5 pounds of muscle and now is now down at 10% body fat. And mechano C, on the other hand, now decides for the remaining 6 months, he decides to cut and starts cutting. At the end of the year, he's down 20% body fat. So he has lost 20% of body fat. So he's now at 10% body fat. And guess what? He lost 1 pound of muscle. So don't forget, he gained 6 pounds for the first 6 months and increased his body fat by 10%. So he was 30 pounds. But now, after the remaining 6 months of the year, guess what? He's now at 5 pounds of muscle. He lost 1 pound of muscle while cutting and has lost 20% of his body fat. So as you guys can see, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, at the end of the week, the results is the same.
Now they always say congratulations.
MECHANO A, B, C. At the end of the year, gain 5 pounds of muscle, and 3 of them are 10% body fat. So they got the same results at the end of the year. So you see, you don't need to bulk in order to gain muscle. So the question is, which one is the healthiest? The healthiest is MECHANO A's cutting, because MECHANO A had to, at the beginning of the year, start watching his rations, because it entails more sacrifice to cut. You have to eat healthy, you have to drink a lot of water, you have to do cardio, and you have to work out hard. So it entails more sacrifice, especially when it comes to the eating part. Eating is more difficult than working out. If you guys don't know, it's more difficult in my opinion.
You know, it's a job, really. Eating is a job, and that's the way that I approach it.
Like it's easier to go to the gym and lift weight. Not that it's easy, but compared to eating, I have to check your diet. When it comes to cutting, it's difficult. So MECHANO A's own, it entails more sacrifice because you have to eat clean and do cardio and do a lot of things. So that one is the healthiest. Now, on the other end, the bulking. When most people bulk, they force feed. They try to eat a lot of food in order to gain the muscle as much as they can, as fast as possible.
I think guys tend to overeat. More, and I think that's the most dangerous thing, honestly.
And it's not good to force feed, and it leads you to be obese. You're 30% body fat. You're already obese as a man. Even as a woman, you're already obese, but not morbid obesity. So it's not good to have the amount of fat in your body. But that doesn't mean that bulking is bad. It doesn't mean that main gaining is bad. It doesn't mean that cutting is bad. The question is, which one is best? And as I said earlier, all options are open. Whichever you want to take, you go for it. Don't say I said it's bad. Whichever one you want to go, you go for it. I'm just trying to tell you guys, you don't need to bulk to gain muscle. Because there's a lot of debates about this, that you need to bulk to gain muscle. If you don't bulk, you don't gain muscle. No, you don't need to bulk to gain muscle. I know a lot of you might be saying, you can't build muscle on a deficit. You can absolutely build muscle on a deficit. Absolutely. That's the truth. You can build muscle on a deficit.
Let me put it in a language you can understand.
You don't go on a deficit so much that it affects your gains. If you go on a serious deficit, maybe a 2,000 calorie deficit, you're not gaining any, you're not growing muscle. But a 500 calorie deficit is optimal. And while you're on a deficit, you need to consume a lot of protein. And when I mean a lot of protein, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is enough. You don't need to go crazy and eat a lot of protein. I said 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is enough. So if you're 200 pounds, 200 grams of protein is enough for you in a day. So if you're 150 pounds, 150 grams of protein is enough. You don't need to go and start eating excess 200. Your body is not going to use it. It's not going to make you get bigger. So those people are thinking that eating excess protein more than your body needs is going to make it makes no difference. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is optimal when you're in a deficit, because protein is muscle sparing. So what you need to do is, when you're in a deficit, you'll be losing fat rather than losing muscle, because you're eating a lot of protein. So if you're in that deficit, you need to eat that amount of protein so that you will lose fat and then be gaining muscle. That's the aim, which is because the aim is to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Because when you're doing it on a deficit, you're going to be shredded and shaped. So from everything I said, you don't need to bulk to build muscle. You can build muscle in a calorie maintenance. You can main gain, you can cut and still build muscle at the same time. So it's left for you to choose. And I've told you guys, I will never go with bulking. In fact, the stress of bulking and getting a lot of fat and then cutting again, the stress of cutting that fat, thinking alone about cutting the fat and coming down to normal is enough for me just to say no to bulking. Now that being said, it doesn't matter whether you want to cut, whether you want to bulk, or whether you want to maintain. The most important thing is to find a body fat percentage that you can maintain long term. I know this contradicts everything I've said, but my point is, most people cannot maintain 10% body fat. Most people cannot maintain 20. Most people cannot maintain 40. Most people cannot maintain 50. Of course, it's genetics. Genetics that plays a role, because we all have different genetics. So we all have different genetics. So the point is to find the body fat percentage that suits you best, that you can maintain. Because most people, they try to cut and do it so hard that they don't have enough energy to work out. They feel so tired, like they feel fatigue always, because the calories they are taking is not enough for their body to go through their daily activity. So you find the body fat percentage that suits you best. Now that doesn't mean that if you're fat, you say that body fat percentage is okay for you. What it means is that if you're fat, you should try your best to get that body fat percentage as low as possible, that you can maintain it long term. So guys, that'll be the end of today's video. We've learned so far that bulking, cutting, and maintaining still build muscle. Whichever you want to take, go with it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell icon and also like the video. Anything you're supposed to do down there, just click everything, click all of them, click all of them. See you guys in the next video. Until then, peace.